don't worry, because WADA and the ITA have a new technological advance in doping screening, which is baggage inspection.
Hi, I'm Amira Rose Davis, and welcome back to Burn It All Down. I'm here with all of my co-hosts, and if you haven't already listened to our latest episode previewing the Winter Olympic storylines that you don't want to miss, please go check that out. But this episode, this is the fun one. This is where we're talking about the athletes we want to watch, the sports that you should know, the sports that we're learning about, and more. And if you want to continue to support our show, check out our Kickstarter, which is live in the show notes. So without further ado, let's get into the fun side of the Winter Olympics. Friends, if you were listening to the stuff about climate change and budget concerns and sexism and racism and politics, and you thought, what a fucking mess, and I'm absolutely still watching, well, you're in the right place, because this is Burn It All Down, and we contain multitudes. And next, we will preview the actual sports at the Winter Olympics, which, you know, just get ready, because the Winter Olympics are a wild ride. Some of these sports we've never heard of, and every 4 years we're surprised by them all over again. At this point, we've probably had 2 Winter Olympic cycles of explaining sports that feel like a death expedition, and still surprised by them. So stay tuned for a breakdown of the athletes to watch, the storylines that we're watching in a non-critical political way. And I want to know, what are you watching? What is your most petty storyline? What scandal should I know about? What is keeping you intrigued and invested in the Winter Olympics? Jess?
Shireen. You have a lot to answer for with these Canadians. Katie Ulander, who competes in the skeleton for the U.S., believed that Canada's skeleton team had purposefully pulled athletes from the North American Cup in order to dwindle the size of the competition so that there were fewer qualifying points offered to the competitors. She said this was in hopes of making sure that 2 of Canada's sliders, that's the skeletonists, sliders, would qualify for the Olympics. Okay, so look, I don't totally understand this. I read multiple articles trying to understand all this point stuff and tiers and da-da-da-da-da. Whatever. It confuses me. But I love the drama of all of this. The International Bobsled and Skeleton Federation has cleared Canada of breaking any rules, though they also acknowledge that this looks pretty bad. Also, Canada and its cheating scandals in international sports, huh? Shireen, are y'all like the bad boys and girls of international sports these days, or what?
You know what? We have to compete with the Americans for being generally obnoxious. So I think Cheeky Ways were ultimately found not guilty, because we all know these courts of justice are really that.
This sounds very
also, the way that
Canadians
no
defense, Shireen. You have
no, of course not. I think it's ridiculous. I mean, I will say this in regards to the skeleton thing. If I was a coach of Canada, this idea of sportsmanship, bro, it's the Olympics. You want to win. I don't think I would have put my athletes out there either. Like, I'm not trying to amplify you. I will talk about the beauty of sport, but not for an Olympic gold. No, there's no beauty. There's cutthroat. There's get to the top of the podium. And there's
You sound so American right now.
I know.
But this is like a very Canadian scandal. It's like
very Canadian.
Low-key, they like sports make Canadians like the mean version of Canadians, but also the scandal.
Wait till Brenda talks about curling, then you'll see how cutthroat we actually are. Seriously. Seriously, it's wild. I think this is one of the reasons I love Canadian sport culture, because when it gets to winter sports, we're not polite anymore.
You're like, this is our turf, baby.
This is our turf. It's terrible. Hideous, and I love all of it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, what else? What other drama do you have for me? I'm living for this.
All right. Okay. In ski jumping, 2 Norway coaches and a staff member have been suspended for the Olympics because the Norwegian team was caught doctoring their ski jumping suits to give them a competitive edge at the World Championships.
They added wings to it or something?
It's something about the thickness of the fabric, and It has to be dissected.
Like it's see-through now?
It's a lot. No, I think it like gets thicker.
It's really the Norwegians who are the problem.
Okay.
The Norwegians are a little bit the drama queens here.
Look at this Canadian just throwing elbows everywhere.
And
Okay.
and
But then-
fettered nationalism, Jessica Luther.
There's another scandal that's not quite so funny, but it is kind of, we should know about it, and we're hearing what's going on.
It just made me think in Heated Rivalry when Shane randomly throws flame makers at the Finns. It's like the Canadian and who they choose to pick fights with when I'm talking about a fictional character who's like fictionally Canadian but also really Canadian, who randomly out of nowhere talks about the Finnish people and the cousins that they like to marry. And I was just thinking Shireen said that about the Norwegians, and I was like, oh boy, the Canada-Norway relations or the Canada-Finnish relations are really deteriorating.
Canada-Scandinavia, the real drama. All right, so you guys might remember Gabriella Papadakis and Guillaume Cizeron. Papadakis and Cicero. The ice dancers, gold medal winning ice dancers from Beijing, from France, they were phenomenal, so good. You know, legends of the sport. Well, after winning gold in Beijing, they split. Papadakis has since retired, and she just released a memoir that it's of course in French, but the translated title is "So as to Not Disappear." And in it, she accuses Cizeron of being really controlling and demanding and critical and pretty emotionally abusive. Cizeron, who is competing at the Olympics this year with a new partner, has gone on the offensive and really called this a smear campaign just meant to kind of ruin his Olympic experience. And NBC is siding with him because Papadakis has been doing commentary on ice dancing for NBC, and she was removed from the commentary team for this Olympics because they're saying that it's a conflict of interest for her to be commentating on the event that he's competing in because of this quote-unquote smear campaign.
This is a story I'm going to tell fucking everybody.
And I am so mad about this because, you're speaking up against abuse that you have suffered and then you're losing your job for it. That is such a weak. I mean, that's just such bullshit from NBC. They must have some really good, really solid proof that her allegations are untrue, which I guarantee you they do not. But apparently that's what, they're sticking by. But she's devastated by losing this job. Of course she is. And it just seems so sexist. It just seems so obviously sexist.
Wow, that's a bummer.
Yeah. So I know I kind of pitched
that
this
wasn't
segment as
a fun scandal. That's
scandals.
just a really fucked up.
Yeah. It's like a burn pile, nominee.
Yeah.
Yeah. It started maybe petty and then took a turn.
Men are always doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Let us get back to petty
everything
for a moment. Even though it's about a big, dark issue, which is doping. One of Burn It All Down's favorite evergreen sources of interest. And I just want to say that there's already been the interference of doping in who we will watch at these Olympics. So whether it's maybe gonna compete Kamila Valieva, right, from the last, the Russian skater, whose return is very questionable at this point.
Is she skating?
She's practicing like she is, but her appeal was rejected. So I don't really know.
Okay.
I mean, that's the fun of the doping, kind of, is like what I mean, funner than the dope itself, I guess, is how it will impact that. And then there's already been the exclusion of Austrian luger Madeleine Egel, and she's already been suspended and has chosen not to appeal it because she was unavailable for testing 3 times in a row, which she knew, I guess, that this would happen, right? But don't worry, because WADA and the ITA have a new technological advance in doping screening, which is baggage inspection.
Great.
So
I mean,
it's called
an airport. Like what?
No, it's a pre-doping test, I'll have you know. And they have contracted the US company Rapiscan. I don't know if you've heard
Sounds
about
legit.
Rapiscan, but it's a company known for providing all of Israel with its scanners. Rapiscan is a specialist in offering detection of bomb equipment and narcotics.
Great.
So I guess if the losers are bringing lots of cocaine or bombs, WADA's going to have itself quite the tournament. But I thought this was fucking hilarious.
I love where the resources are going. I
Yeah.
do hope we hear about all the cocaine.
Also, every time you say losers, I would hate to be a loser and called a loser because it sounds like you're calling me a loser.
I actually
Maybe
don't
illusionist,
know if
like
that's right.
skeletonist, you know?
Illusionist.
Lugist.
Illusionist.
Illusionist.
Now you sound like you're doing magic tricks.
Magic. That's better than being a loser.
That's better than
I don't-
being a loser.
I think
Somebody please
Illusion.
comment. Tell us how to pronounce illusion.
I think it's a loser. I think it's a loser.
I
I'm
think
sorry.
It's not a loser, but a loser.
Did you
It's
just
not
did
a
you just
loser.
Frenchify
It's a
it,
person
Shireen?
who
Yes,
does
you know,
luge.
I
Luger?
think a loser. Like, I think just switching to French automatically A makes it sound elevated, and B it
does
avoids
not.
loser.
It does not.
That's so colonialist.
100%.
That's so colonialist, you know. But bueno.
Wow.
Anyway, look out for WADA to just get all of the dopers at the baggage claim.
They're doing
Or
it.
the dopers.
My question is WADA also checking the baggage of like random people? Like it's just through
No.
the like
Is there like a special line?
yeah, like
you
how
go
would
through
you
as
know?
an
Like what if
athlete?
you were accidentally transporting coke to go to the Olympics just because it would enhance your viewing experience?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be caught up by WADA and ITA.
Maybe the
I think
Italian
that athletes
Maybe
go
that's
the separate with their bio passports into this sort of line, but it basically just seemed like hilarious graft to me to pretend
Yeah.
Yes.
that you
It does
know
seem like
those horse tranquilizers that they can't keep up with, you know, that they can't test because they're being developed faster than the testing isn't going to show
Yeah.
up as this like old school narcotics.
And a lot of doping is legit medicine.
Medicine,
that
yeah.
people use. They just abuse it in a specific way and then it becomes doping. So like there's a ton of legitimate medicine that exists in the world. Anyway,
Wow.
whatever.
Yeah,
Whatever, Brad,
all the
that's not
questions-
that's not the
All
point.
the questions are valid. You know, they're missing the point.
If we thought Shireen was turning into angry competitive Canadian before, we're about to turn it up because I want to ask you about what you
About
call
the U.S.,
best-
the junior world
rivalry
hockey? Is that what we're talking about?
We're talking about women's hockey, what Shireen calls the best rivalry in all of sports. What are you?
IMO. I think that this may not be.
Did you say that? Sorry. I've never heard someone just say IMO. I've seen it texted, but
She's on the forefront. Of
of
ling-
yeah,
of
you know me
language.
and my digital fluency.
With the youth.
With the Ute dem, as they say in these parts. So here it is. You know, I haven't been quiet on this show ever about hockey and women's hockey and US versus Canada. I think it is incredibly exciting, not just with the PWHL launching it into sustainability consistency. I had the opportunity to go to a game on Saturday and talk to a couple players, you know, from the Canadian team and say who they are, like Nursey's going, Sarah Nurse, Natalie Spooner, and just to see where they are. And I'm not the only one. These players also feel that too. Although they play professionally in Canada and the United States, the Olympics are the highest echelon, and they have always been, particularly for this rivalry. So I think it's unbelievable. I cannot wait. I'm a little, and people, just for everybody out there that are like, well, wait a minute, the rivalry series, the United States, you know, really killed Canada in 4 solid games. I did ask this question in the post-games presser, and Daryl Watts, first time on the Canadian Olympic team, told me that the rivalry series is not the Olympics. And, you know, it's a time for Canada to test out its younger players. Nobody looked stressed or even bothered. They were really, as the kids say, nonchalant. And I'm a person who's always chalant. So I really need
I just
to,
really
like,
want Martin to clip this, like take note of this so we can run this back at the end of the Olympics.
at
Thank
the end of
you.
yeah, and we'll see how chalant I am then. But the reality is that this is for me probably the most emotionally grueling and like labor I spend in the Olympics is watching women's hockey and the men's. And I will be watching the men. I will pay attention to the men's hockey. But this is for me, and you all know this, that this is for me is the pinnacle of all the unfettered nationalism that gets wrapped up and every 4 years emerges boldly like a loser on a tricky, tricky course.
Okay, wait, don't be mad at me. Who won the gold last time in women's hockey?
Canada won for
Okay.
the women,
Okay,
but
thank you.
lost the world championship.
Okay,
So
right. Okay, thank you.
Canada's defending the Olympic medal, but had lost the worlds.
Well, this is getting fun. I'm really excited for speed skating because, if you ever watch speed skating, it is, I don't know, hijinks and hilarity. Like, just, I always am scared somebody's going to cut themselves on their skate. I'm just very into watching people skate really fast around the circle. One of the things I have my eye on is, if you remember, back in 2018, so this really is our third Winter Olympic cycle, but back in 2018, in episode 40 of the show, we interviewed Erin Jackson, who is a Black woman speed skater. I also just want to highlight her because it's the Winter Olympics. So anytime you see somebody with a little melanin, you got to grab on because you don't know when you'll see that again. So Erin Jackson, if you recall, her friend and teammate, Brittany Bowe,
Oh, yeah.
Erin fell in U.S. trials in the 500. And
Yes.
Brittany Bowe, who's very intensely competitive, but also made a big decision in 2022 when she stepped aside and gave up her spot so Erin Jackson could compete in that, when then she went on to medal. And that is really interesting because Bowe is now 37 and going back to what everybody presumes will be her last Olympic Games.
Wow.
She's competing in the 1,000, the 1,500, and the team pursuit. People call her the heart and soul of American speed skating. And she has won 2 bronze medals, but this will be like her last competition. So I'm looking for that. I'm also, like I said, still watching Erin, really excited to see what she will get up to. She's competing at the 500 as well as the 1,000. And then over on the men's side, I'm really... No, I don't know if worried's the word, but there is a 21-year-old named Jordan Stoltz who is like, he's just like the it person in speed skating. He's competing in the 5, the 1,000, the 1,500, and the mass start. He has won the World Cup in all of those distances that I just said. And
He's 21.
He's 21. And so, yes, I'm just
annoyed.
like, this is, I'm kind of just like, I like the pressure must be kind of wild at U.S.
Are
trials.
his quads just like gigantic? They must be huge.
I mean, we'll have to put a picture up, but it's also
okay.
because of his successes and his world championships and stuff like that, he was pre-qualified, which was probably a good thing because he did fall at the 500 in the U.S. trials, but it didn't matter because he was already qualified for that. And then in the 1,500, he didn't actually compete. He took like a stride or 2, which means he officially started the race, and then he just like skated off and he was like, look, I'm tired. I'm sick. I'm not doing this. But he's competing in all of those events. And I'm just trying to imagine being 21 with like that sort of, mind you, every quote that him or his team says is like the exact kind of cockiness you'd expect from a 21-year-old who's at the top of the world in that sport. So I'm like actually kind of really into his brashness. He's still being like, oh, we'll see. It's the Olympics, whatever. And his team is like, I expect him to win it all and can't wait till he does that. So I kind of like it. I kind of like that cockiness and the confidence. And also I'm now like really locked in because we get to witness the like phenom at work or, or it will be sad because he's crumbled under pressure or something. But speed skating is one of those sports you saw about the falls in the 500. A slip here or there can have you spinning off into the boards. So it's one of those things that I just feel like the margin of error is so minute that to be that dominant across all of those events is really something special. So I'm excited to be watching that. What other athletes are you
Sorry, can I interject something real quick? You're talking about Brittany Bowe. She dates Hillary Knight, and that's just really important for everyone to know.
Oh,
yeah.
I forgot about that because it's so random.
I feel like that's very important for the Biad audience to know.
Oh, yeah. Thank you,
So,
Linz.
yes, you're welcome.
So what athletes are you watching, Bren?
I am watching Alana Myers-Taylor, who
Yes.
is multiple times torchbearer of this show and friend and guest, right? Who interviewed her?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Me and
absolutely.
Oh, amazing.
yeah, and I interviewed her once before that too. Yeah,
Yeah.
She's
And
been
also
on
she's
multiple times.
She
And
is the
she's
most
Black,
decorated Black winter Olympian. And so this will make her extra, probably. But she is still chasing the gold. And so she is back for her 5th Olympics. And
Incredible.
she's won tons and tons of world championships and other championships and all the championships. She's going to probably compete in both the monobob and the 2-woman bobsled competition, or that's what they project at this time. But she's officially now as part of the team. And I can't think of anyone more deserving of gold. She's an older athlete, right? I think she's 41 by now. She is mothering full-time 2 sons to proud members of the deaf community. If you don't follow her on Instagram just for your daily education and inspiration, I highly, highly recommend it. I watch her social media and I don't follow many athletes. I don't follow Messi, if that tells you anything, because I'll figure it out. But in the case of Alana Myers-Taylor, I just feel like it's way more than that. It's really like a sort of a person that you root for all the time, all year round, between Olympics, etc. And so I'm just really inspired by her, and I want her to do great. And if she doesn't, she's still the greatest, awesomest anyway.
We love her.
Absolutely.
Yep. Even though she's American. Yes.
No caveats. Shireen, no caveats on her. Thank you.
Jessica, who are you excited to watch?
I want to talk about the Rivers triplets. So these 18-year-olds were born in Brooklyn, but all 3 tried to qualify in skiing in hopes of representing their mom's country of Jamaica at the Olympics. They competed in a bunch of low-tier competitions all over the world, trying to rack up the points that you need. Unfortunately, sisters Helena and Hania were just unable to do it, but their brother, Henry IV, will compete in the slalom. And the whole family is going to be there to watch him walk in the opening ceremony for Team Jamaica in his outfit. And then they're going to cheer him on as he races down the slopes. Their father, Henry III, is the president of the National Brotherhood of Snow Sports, NBS, which helps athletes of color who want to compete in winter sports. After the Olympics, the triplets will head to Norway to participate in the World Alpine Junior Ski Championship. And all of them have their eyes on 2030, so keep your eyes on them. I am just fully on Team Rivers over here. There was a wonderful interview they did for the Today Show, and you should go right now. I mean, you should listen to the whole thing, but really you should stop and just go watch them on the Today Show. They are so lovely together, and it's fun to hear them talking about each other and competing side by side. And they're delightful. So go Henry.
The 4th.
Yay!
Henry
The
the fourth. The 4th.
Mhm.
I love triplets and I love siblings. So, and I love
Amir,
Black
you will
kids.
love.
Are they Black?
You need to go. Yes,
Yes.
they are Black.
Okay.
You need to go watch.
There's a lot of
their
Chinese
Today Show
Jamaicans.
interview.
I just had to ask.
No, they are Black. Yes.
Well, that checks like all my happy boxes. So,
Yeah.
So I am very intrigued by the U.S. Figure skating team. It feels, I don't know, fun, energetic. There's a lot of stories about them. You've by now probably heard of Maxim Naumov's story, which we felt important to highlight. I think this story will be told a bunch, especially because it's kind of fodder for a sob story. Like, it's very sad, and we don't want to like traffic in trauma porn, but I do think like he's been very open about his story. So Maxim is 24, and last year his parents and coaches Vadim Namov and Evgenia Shishkova were on the American Eagle fight that crashed and collided over DC. And so last year he lost his parents and his coaches, which meant that for the last year, with his eyes still set on the Olympics, while grieving his parents, he also had to assemble a full new coaching team to make a bid for the Olympics. And there was a viral picture of him because as he waited in the kiss and hug area while you're waiting for your scores to see if he made the cutoff, he was holding a picture of him at 3 years old, flanked by his parents on the ice. I know. And when he got his score to get that last place on the team, he just looked up at the sky and was talking about how much strength he drew from them. He said, it's all about resilience. It's about being resilient, that feeling and that mentality that I've clung to the entire season. I find that in times of really difficult emotional stress, if you can push yourself a little bit more and think, what if I can do it? What if, despite everything that happened to me, I can still go out there and do it? And that's where you find your strength. And he said, that's exactly what's been getting me through every day. So now he is going to the Olympics, and I just feel like everybody is surrounding him, like trying to do a laying of hands, because what an unimaginable year it must be. So that's on the men's side of the Olympics. Also, just generally, the entire figure skating team is full of personality. All of the men on the figure skating team, they get along with each other, but also their quads are amazing. Their jumps are like, their routines are mind blowing. And on the women's side, I can't even insert a TikTok video here of this team, please. The women on the U.S. figure skating team are absolutely ushering in like a new era. Like, this is not your mama's U.S. figure skating team. Somebody called them like grunge figure skaters. They are so Gen Z, from the music they pick, the styles that they have, like the way that they cheer for each other. Like, we are so far from Tanya Harding here. Like, there's viral videos of them coming back on the ice to cheer for each other's routine, even at the expense of their own medal, because of how hard they go for each other. And in particularly, I want to shout out Alyssa Liu, who just, I don't know, she's the story that really gets to me in sports. She really was like a figure skating prodigy. She peaked and won a lot as a child. And then she made headlines because she actually stepped away and retired from the sport when she was just 15, because she was like, I don't want to live like this. I've been training since I was 5. Everybody tells me exactly what to eat, what to wear, what songs to dance to. Like, this is not my life. And so she stepped away from the sport to just be a teenager. And it wasn't until a few years ago she was skiing and she was like, oh, wait, I missed the adrenaline. Maybe I want to skate again, but decided to return to figure skating completely on her terms. So she came back to the sport on the condition that she had absolute say in what she was wearing, how she was eating, how she was training. If she was tired, she just didn't train. If she wanted to dance to a song that people thought was unexpected, like Lady Gaga, she was like, fuck it, I'm dancing to what I want to dance to. I'm going to wear what I want to wear. I'm going to dress in all black, and I have eyeliner, and this is my aesthetic, and you'll deal with it. And the pinnacle of her return was a surprise gold medal at the World Championships. There's a video of her going out there and doing the routine on her terms, while at the same time it's a split shot between her coaches, who are just cheering and bawling to watch how much she's nailing it, but moreover for her to be back on the ice, like just soaking it in. And the standing ovation that she got immediately after ending the routine, like the kind of disbelief of like, I came back here on my terms and got back to the top of the sport is wonderful. So she went in as the silver medalist coming from Olympic trials, and her short form program is beautiful. I'm really excited to see what Alyssa and the rest of the U.S. figure skating team does.
I'm up next, and I'm going to be definitely watching and cheering for Cynthia Pia, who does bobsled. She is a driver, and I was talking to her today. I interviewed her for Profile I'm writing, and she's based in Calgary. She is the daughter of Ghanaian immigrants, and she did shot put before, and we talked about the crossover between those sports, like track and field sports, which is why, and in her words, bobsleigh is one of the most racially diverse, or perhaps the only racially diverse sport at the Olympics for a particular reason, because it absorbs athletes who move from different sports and who can break people, like break men or women, break women. And she decided to drive. One of the reasons I actually love her personality, she's a super nerd, and she was recently on Jeopardy. And she said that making Jeopardy, because the process by which for Jeopardy, it's blind testing. You have no idea who it is. They had no idea who she was until she made the second round and was in a Zoom call with them. And then when she told them she was like an Olympian, they were like, oh, wait a minute. This sounds awesome. And she was on the show. And she said it was as tough to make Jeopardy as it was the Olympics. And I just love that for her. She's also really awesome. It's her second time at the Olympics. She was in Beijing. It was a different Olympics. It was COVID Olympics. So she's really looking forward to having her family there. The other person that I'm definitely going to be looking at is Cassie Sharp, who is a 33-year-old half-pipe skier. And Cassie Sharp won gold in Pyeongchang. She won silver in Beijing. Then she took some time off to have a baby and has come back. And I'm here for the moms doing that shit because it's hard work all the time. Just really really interesting person and really candid about the vulnerabilities of being a mom and being an athlete. And I will be watching that, and clearly Canadian hockey, like for real, we know this. I'm also paying attention to anyone who's a couple. There's a couple of women's hockey players who are couples. And I know you're like, oh, that sounds very heated rivalry. Yeah, why should it not be? So I'm really interested. There's actually a player on the Slovenian team who is partners with Anna, who plays for Toronto Scepters, who's captain of the Swedish team. And they are actually opponents in real life. Like literally one of the quotes from this Anna Chelbin and Ronya Savolanian, and Ronya, said that we're engaged to be married. They're not just together, they're engaged to be married, but on the ice, quote, she's my enemy, unquote. Now, I love that shit. Looking back to even the original OG couple, Carol Ouellette and Julie Chu, Canada versus US, like back and forth. I just love it. So anyways, it's giving heated rivalry, but it's also giving awesome. And I'll be keeping my eyes open for those kind of romances in competition, wherever they may be.
We need a listicle. Somebody needs to make us a nice
all
the couples. Thank you.
Okay, Linz, who are you watching?
I gotta go with Lindsey Vonn. I mean, there's so many I'm excited about. Chloe Kim, Michaela Schifrin, all the stars. I'm just excited to see them. But Lindsey Vonn is 41 years old. She announced her retirement in 2019. At the time, she had just become the oldest woman to win a medal at the World Championships. She was 34 at the time. And she was also at the time the first female racer to receive medals at 6 different World Championships. But in 2024, after undergoing partial knee replacement surgery, she announced that she was coming back because the pain that led to her retirement in the first place was gone. And her comeback, this has not just been a fun story. This has been a serious competitor. This season, on December 12th of 2025, at the downhill ski event in St. Moritz, she claimed the 83rd victory of her career, becoming the oldest alpine skier in history, male or female, to win an Alpine Cup race. It was 21 years after her first World Cup win. 21 years.
Wow.
And it was 7 years, 8 months, and 29 days after her previous World Cup win.
Wow.
This season, she's just crushing it. In downhill, she has 2 first-place finishes, 2 second-place finishes, and 3 third-place finishes. She easily qualified for the Olympic team, and she's a real contender for medals at age 41. Like, this is not just some feel-good story. I mean, it is, but, like, she could win a medal again, and that's just wild, and it's fun to see. I don't care. I'm 39, and I love to see people older than me doing cool things in sports. There aren't many times I'm going to get to see someone older than me compete in the Olympics anymore. So I'm savoring it.
That's great. So in addition of the athletes that we do know and do watch, there's always winter sports that kind of confuddle us. So I would love to highlight some winter sports that maybe you know, or maybe like us, you're just learning about. And I will go first because there is one new sport at the Olympics this year called ski mountaineering, or if you're like in the know, you'll call it skimo. Skimo is...
So Amira will call it skimo.
I will call it skimo because I'm now
she's
a skimo enthusiast. Skimo is really interesting. It's a new sport, like I said, being added to the Olympics. It's grown in popularity. The first World Championship in skimo was held in 2002, and it's been an international event held every 2 years since then. It's not exactly a coincidence that Italy is one of the leading nations in the sport and over the last decade has really dominated international competition. I think that it kind of makes sense that they chose this in line with the Summer Games when you get the sports that are trying to make, cool entries to like bring back viewers like 3-on-3 or breakdancing fiasco or, these things. Skimo is in line with that. We'll see how long it sticks around, but it definitely is premiering this year. Now, let me tell you about the sport itself because it requires a lot of skills. So it's a sprint race. There'll be a men's sprint, a women's sprint, and a mixed relay. And it has a few different components of the race. So first, you start with the ascent. You're going up the mountain on skis.
Already know.
You're going up the mountain on skis. Then at some point during the ascent, you have to remove your skis quickly. This matters. Place them on your backpack and tackle the next set of steps just like walking. You're just like walking up a steep incline. Then you have to take your skis off your backpack, put them back on your feet, and continue to ascend before the skins on your skis that grip going up are removed so that you can descend down a treacherous alpine course to the finish line. One sprint heat takes about 3.5 minutes to go up the ascent, walk the ascent, ski the ascent again, take it off, and go down. The thing that I like about this sport...
That's way shorter than what I thought you were going to say. Okay.
No, because it's a sprint. So you have to do all of this fast. And this is what fascinates me. Because like Formula One, like how important like a pit stop is, where you have to do the changing really fast, that's how you have to be with your skis. So when you're removing there's tactics to it. When you are removing your skis to put it in your backpack, people train just on how to do that as fast as possible.
That's like a triathlete. When you transition between
exactly.
sports.
The transition matters.
Yeah.
But one of the things that messes people up is when they're doing that transition and they walk with their boots before they like set, or they like do a walking motion but forget that they've just transitioned to their skis, where the motion you do is a little different. So I watched a lot of videos of people trying to train to nail the transition and not get caught up on like when you're ahead on the ascent, but your ski gets stuck, or you put it on and then you're not moving your legs in the right way. And then after you do all that work to get to the top and you're fatigued, you need to go downhill and not crash. I'm all the way in. Skimo, that was me banging my excitement. I am so invested in skimo. To see the men's sprint and the women's sprint, and then the mixed relays will be exactly what it sounds like. And yeah, skimo, welcome to the Olympics.
All right. So, in life, I think I'm the oldest of the group, and you think you might get wiser. And I thought I could explain curling. And I am arrogant, and I apologize for thinking I could. So I will tell you a few things I learned about curling, and take what you will from them. One really nice thing is that you can expect to maybe strain your back, but not actually have a catastrophic injury. So of all the winter sports, right, you're probably gonna be okay. And I really like that about curling. Just right, straight off the bat. Like there's not really much it's nerve-wracking
It's
when you're in
gentle.
it, but it's not quite as violent of accidents that have happened in the past that I know of. Again, this is not a full thing. Teeny weeny understanding. Okay. I want to say that I respect curling and all curlers before I begin because sometimes I struggle with some of the terminology. One of the people I respect is Jennifer Jones, known as the Canadian goat skipper. She's very good at curling, and you should really keep your eye on her. Basically, in curling, you're trying to get rocks into a house which is on a sheet. The rocks.
But the sheet is ice. It's important to clarify.
The sheet is frequently ice or man-made ice terrain meant for a lane. And there are rocks, which are polished stones of granite that are approximately 40 pounds. Because we don't use the normal metric system of the rest of the world, I'm approximating what that weight is, but they are pretty heavy. People then will have brooms. The brooms are meant to help the rocks go in the right direction.
You go to the house.
Right. And
Which is just lines on, it's like a triangle, right?
Right. Yeah, they help the trajectory of the delivering stone.
They like clear the path, or they make it rougher. Like
right.
guides the stone.
Curvature. Right.
Yeah.
They are used to both attack and defend, and they are central to the entire sport, which is played by two teams that rotate their turns with 4 players each. Now, there is one question I had, and I'll end with this because I've basically maxed out what I know. Except to say, like, there's mixed doubles, which is really cool. By the way, we love mixed gendered sports here. Is that I was wondering what they were yelling. And because every time I turn it on, they're
yelling.
They're furiously brooming. And they're furiously
sweeping
and skipping and toward the house. And then they're yelling. There's a lot of yelling. So I was like, wow. So this is my one question. And then I'll wrap it up because no one's going to benefit from my high-level analysis. But what I have read is, quote, don't confuse it with trash talk. In the sheet, which is 150 feet long, which is in terms I understand, yelling is the best way for the skip to communicate how the sweepers should move the stone as they take each shot. These are common commands that you may hear, so just to familiarize yourself, and I hope you use these at home. When you say hurry, it means sweep as fast as possible. So if you have teenage children, you can try it.
I would never have guessed.
You say, hurry, hurry. Well, hurry could mean do you hurry up and skip the stone? No, hurry is specifically for broomers, which is not what they call it, sweepers, right?
Sweepers.
Then you go, you'll intuit this one. Whoa means stop sweeping. Stop sweeping. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. So I hear them, and I think they're saying, they're mad that they've gotten a foul or something. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. No. They're just telling them, whoa, no more brooms. No, put your brooms down. And then the last thing, which I really enjoy, is yup. Yup means to sweep. So that's your terminology.
This is really Canadian.
I hope you enjoy the curling. I'm excited to use my newfound knowledge.
Yep.
Yep.
Brenda, I
Yep.
need Brenda to commentate curling.
Yes.
Please.
Like-
And also, I just thought, I love how you thought whoa, meaning stop, was more intuitive than hurry, meaning sweep faster.
I was like, hurry up and get it down the sheet to the house.
So
my
I want
goodness.
to go curling with you guys. I think that I would like that to happen, and we would have so much fun.
Ooh.
Whoa.
I think I would have not fun.
Whoa.
Amira, I think you have to do
Hurry.
it because we have done Orange Theory and Escape Room
Yeah,
for you.
yeah.
so-
Yeah, the amount of
Those are
things we've
things I
done for
enjoy.
Amira.
I feel like you of all of us don't get to veto.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, Amira gets no vetoes.
It's not going to be a good time.
Oh, it'll be a great
It'll be a
time.
cold-
We always
Not with
have a
that
great-
full
attitude it won't,
time.
Amira. Not with that attitude it won't.
First of all, I just think cold sports are a little anti-black and I don't really want to participate because I'm going to be cold. Can we heat it up? Can it be indoor curling?
Literally
warm?
no.
Didn't you grow up in New England?
Not by choice, babes. Not by choice.
Yeah, but like...
By force. By force. I don't like it.
Okay.
I was inside by a fire all winter.
I'm going to go next. So, the skeleton, we can all agree, is one of the most bonkers things that you're going to see. It makes you really question the sanity of anyone who willingly competes in this sport. So, in case anyone has forgotten, because I actually did forget a little bit of this when I was researching. So, to do the skeleton, it's like the luge or the bobsled. They use the same course. You push your tiny little sled 30 meters while running as fast as you can, and then you fling your body onto this tiny sled. So you are going head first down the course. And then you just use the small movements of your shoulders, knees, and toes to manipulate where the sled is going. Your head is maybe 5 centimeters off of the ice. And the part that always gets me is you don't have any brakes. There's no brakes. You're just going. Once you start, you're going.
So when you cross the finish line, how do you stop?
Well, shit. We're going to have to watch a video. Obviously, they have a way. The skeleton can reach speeds of up to 140 kilometers per hour, which is 87 miles per hour, and they can hit 5 Gs. Like, that's how
Nope.
fast they're going with their head 5 centimeters from the ice.
Nope.
So it's bananas.
Nope.
One of the new events this year they're going to do is they're going to do the mixed event. So normally when you do the skeleton, you get 4 runs. They add up all your time, and then they determine the medals by the shortest amount of time over the 4 different runs. So you have you can mess up once and sort of build back in, right? For the mixed event, you have 1 man, 1 woman. They each get 1 single run. And then they add those times together. So it's really intense. Like, you got to hit it. You got to be super focused while doing one of the wildest things you'll ever see. So these sliders are incredible. At the most, because it depends on who qualifies and how many teams and everything, they'll have 28 athletes comprising 14 teams in the mixed event. So we'll see. I just pray for everyone's safety whenever I watch it. Like, I want to watch it in that sort of like, I don't know, fascination way of like, are you going to see a crash? But I just hope we have a lot of safety this year with the skeleton.
It's very stressful.
It is. I didn't even like watching the little cartoon video. It wasn't even a real person, but I was stressed.
So I'm going to talk about biathlon, and it's not as dangerous per se as skeleton, but it has been labeled nerdier than curling. So the nerdiest sport at the Winter Olympics is biathlon. Now, I had a really fun time researching this, and one of the things that I didn't realize was 11 different events of biathlon in the Olympics. And biathlon is essentially, for people that don't know, you're going to be cross-country skiing, like not you per se, like you, collective you. You are cross-country skiing, and then you stop and you lie down on your stomach and you have to perfect your marksmanship. So after your heart racing and you're like literally using every inch of your body as cross-country skiing does for a person, you have to lie perfectly still and hit a target. And if you don't, you either get like delay, like penalties of minutes, or you have to do another loop of a track, etc.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not going to be me.
It's-
That's definitely not going to be me doing that.
It's for fit people that are like, there's people who like run voluntarily for like miles and miles and miles and miles.
Well, Jessica does
Like
that.
Jessica.
Brenda,
Yeah, but
Jessica, yeah,
me.
Yep. And then this is above that. You take that and you like all that cocaine that people are importing to the Olympics. You put everybody on that. No, wait a minute. That sounds like
But then
there's
how can you sit
allegations.
still?
Okay, I'm not
Kareem,
implying that biathletes are all on
as a
cocaine.
Canadian, I don't think you should be saying these
I
things.
absolutely should not. And I respect Mariam Bedard very much in her history in biathlon. My point is, it's literally crazy and like intense. But what was interesting historically about this for all you historians is that this was once called military patrol. So biathlon was used really interestingly in the 1930s by Finnish soldiers to keep Russians at bay, their attacks at bay, even though the Finns were outnumbered 10-1. And that's according to US Biathlon Association's website. But the history of it it's just really, really fascinating in terms of how it came. Canada has been, the Scandinavian countries are obviously very good at this, at biathlon, because like they're great at cross-country skiing and whatnot. And it's a mode of transportation, not biathlon, but like skiing. So I find it really intense. So there's sprints, individual, something called pursuit. There's something called mass start. That if the name of the sport was military patrol and mass start was an event, I would be concerned, but it's not called that anymore. It's biathlon. There's relay and mixed relay. So this again is, they have a mixed gender event. So I think I'm not mad at that. I like it. I want to try this. I don't know how that could happen because I don't know how to shoot. I'm not big on guns. And I can cross-country ski poorly. So I do think
You have to lay down in the cold.
in the snow. You lie in the snow
And
on your
the
stomach.
target is teeny tiny.
It's
Like
very,
they
very
are
small.
shooting very tiny targets.
Very,
yeah.
very small. And you have to carry that particular rifle on your back, and then you get up and then you get going again. I don't think this is the
Yeah, they're like
movement.
shooting between heartbeats.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
So you
it's
try to
wild.
control
Yeah.
your breath. And one athlete, I remember listening to a podcast of her talking about the regulation of her breath was as imperative, like literally cardio, like in every sense. I just find this to be really interesting. And there's an article about it in the Citizen Times that was written a couple of years ago by Danielle Drellinger in 2022 explaining this. And it's just really funny. It's comical explaining the history. And the title is Why You Should Root for Biathlon, the Winter Olympics Weirdest Sport. So I like weird. I like being weird. And I feel like if I was a sport in the Olympics, I would be biathlon.
Okay, Lindsay, bring us home. What event should we know more about?
I just want to remind everyone about how crazy and joyful snowboard and ski cross is. This is the multi-rider racing event. So on either your snowboard or your free skis, you are racing down the snowy course at the same time. The courses are designed with these artificial features like these small bumps, rollers or berms, which are banked turns. It's a new word,
Look at you.
BERMS.
Okay.
Jumps and drops. It's similar to like motocross tracks. And you're all going down it. It's like 4 or 5 at the same time. And the first one to the finish line wins. And it's so stupid, but it's so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
I love how John Branch of the New York Times described it in 2010 when it made its Olympic debut. He said, 4 at a time, the races barrel down the mountains, navigating bank turns, long jumps, washboard bumps, and if they can help it, one another. So you'll literally see events where they all wipe out at the end and are just literally rolling across the finish line. And it's, what if skiing or snowboarding was a contact sport? Well, now you know. So it's fun. It feels a little bit like talk about cocaine. Like, I don't know what snorting cocaine feels like, but watching it feels like it's got to be close to that.
What a weird thread to have.
What
But yeah.
What a joy. So please join us in watching the opening ceremonies, alpine skiing, biathlon, bobsled, cross-country skiing, curling, figure skating, freestyle skiing, ice hockey, luge, Nordic combine, short track speed skating, skeleton, ski jumping, ski mountaineering, snowboard, and speed skating. Those are all the events at the Winter Olympics. From February 6th to February 22nd, they will be going down. Whether it's a new sport, one of these obscure sports we just said, or an age-old favorite, check them out. Happy watching. Stay warm. Well, that's it for this fun episode of Burn It All Down. Please remember to check out our Kickstarter. The link is in the show notes. If you're watching the Winter Olympics and you're discovering new athletes or fun storylines, tag us in it, share all over social, share the Kickstarter too. We really look forward to experiencing the Winter Game right alongside all of y'all. You can find Burn It All Down on all the places that you get podcasts, and we're on all the socials, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, Facebook, and now on YouTube. You can also follow our new newsletter, The Flamethrower. That link is also in the show notes. Our website, burnitalldownpod.com, has transcripts and all the other information you need about the show. And as always, Flamethrowers, burn on and not out.